Are you lost in the sauce of hypervisibility? And do you think that the bourgeoisie ruling class deserve to be there out of hard work? A lot of people don't recognize how capitalism is an indoctrinating system, and to get a lot of y'all to do what I'm gonna call boot licking. You know what I'm saying? You be licking the boots of the bourgeoisie so hard that you will really spite your other people in the working class. I might get into like Afro-pessimism too, because we can't just talk about the Black experience through the idea of exploitation and being able to be, tricked out of my labor. Because a lot of times, shout out to the Afro-pessimists, Black people have a relationship of accumulation and fungibility to the system. But this video is about how there's been a lot of misinformation surrounding the SAG AFTRA, SAG AFTRA, you feel me? The actors and the writers protesting, you know what I'm saying? They're on strike. What I learned from just being on these internet streets is a lot of people don't recognize they doing the dirty work of the people that's getting signed over the checks. And you know what? I feel like this is always a consistency. Every single time somebody or industry that experiences hypervisibility goes through different labor disputes. If you believe that actors or NBA players or NFL players are the spoiled individuals that's overpaid, what you think about the folks signing their checks? They ain't putting no blood, sweat, and tears. Remember they were also—
Bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
They weren't shooting in the gym.
They want to kick you when you down. They want to kick it with you when you up.
You see what I'm saying? They ain't doing none of the strength and conditioning. You feel me? They ain't getting it out the mud from the time they in the sandbox to the time they got to go and allow for the NCAA to make a whole bunch of money on them. Then they finally able to make money for themselves. Or the way in which, how I learned, I seen this on TikTok.
There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic.
I think the director of Disney had the nerve to say he disappointed and disturbed with the strike. I got homies that's acting. Hey, listen, they trying to struggle to make ends meet. They eating sleep for dinner. Meanwhile, Disney buddy made $20-something million last year. Yeah, a lot of folks think that when it comes to content creating as well, that followers equal dollars. But let me tell you something. Just like when we get into the means of production, the value of labor, then who gets to dictate the value of that labor? We're going to start thinking about how across the board, you feel me, down there, everybody that experiences hypervisibility also goes with a little bit of trickery. You see what I'm saying? It'd be a lot of space age pimping.
Let me check my Palm Pilot. Look like I ain't doing shit.
A lot of us are putting our feet to the street and beating it, trying to, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, metaphorically look for the jobs. And a lot of these major corporations, you feel me, they the pimps. But they'll try to reward us as if they the ones giving us something and we're the one putting our beats to the street. You know what I'm saying? We're putting our feet to the street. It's almost like, I remember one time I was in Oakland and I was in East Oakland, you know what I'm saying? And I was hearing some people talk about, the Stroll, the E14, right? And they were talking about how pimps from being able to hit a particular quota. I think that is very similar, but through the context in the current issue of the film strike, the artist strike. Let's get into it. A lot of us have been duped into believing that really like hard work pays off, or that if you work hard enough, that we'll be able to experience the riches and the luxury of the people that's on top. Whole time, there's really them having like the carrot in front of the horse, getting us to work our ass off. But we don't never get the carrot though. The Screen Actors Guild, that's what SAG stands for, is the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, is an American labor union representing approximately 160,000 media professionals worldwide. SAG AFTRA is a member of the AFL-CIO, the largest federation of unions in the world. And just what my understanding of unions is, it is so embedded within capitalism to try to get the most possible while doing the least possible, that it's really positioned a lot of employees, a lot of laborers, working class folks in really effed up positions, because it make it where you always already are having to fight for your means, fight for your value, fight for equitable pay. So you feel me, when you sign up for a job and they got a union part of their job, just recognize that there is a crazy history that go with that position that you're working in and that industry that you're working in, and how they value labor. We know that the SAG AFTRA, the SAG AFTRA, it brings together two great American labor unions, the Screen Actors Writers Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, and the American Federation of Television Radio Shows. Both were formed in turmoil in the 1930s with the rich history of fighting for and securing the strongest protections for media artists. So me being, you know, a person that's on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and Threads, there's been a lot of conversations about content creators, about influencers, about the implications of the picket line, the strike, people selling out, or what they call being scabs. And we're going to get into this video. What we know, when factories and plants, workers of those factories and plants will go on strike, the owner of that business will try to feel like, hey, this labor is replaceable. I can just get some more people. A scab would be somebody that takes up an opportunity to work with somebody, to an organization that is being called in line. I don't know why I be burping so much during these videos, man. What does it mean to cross the picket line? Before I get into this, stay sucker free and say no to sucker shit. What does it mean to cross the picket line? Crossing the picket line occurs at any point when you go beyond the barrier that the striking members are enforcing onto the employee's premises. Even walking through a building or crossing the picket line is considered crossing the picket line. This is right here is what I recognize as well. Is it okay to cross the picket line? Some may ask. The decision is yours. We know that you have the right to do what you want to do. You have the right to do as you like. You know, America's a free country. We do know that your decision is a matter of ethics, and ethics and loyalty. And I think that we all should be ethical and loyal in the way we make our decisions. Honoring the picket line shows your support for picketing the workers, the union, and the labor movement as a whole. When it comes to the union, specifically the SAG, if you cross the picket line and you are an inspired actor, writer, actress, producer, you won't be able to join the union. And answer this question right here. If their major majority part of the labor force is striking and the people that are in power are giving you a little monetary opportunity to pay your bills, you know what I'm saying, to feed yourself. I'm a full-time content creator. I know what that means. But they're not going to take care of you in the long run. You know they're not going to take care of you in the long run because they're already seeing your labor as something that's interchangeable and something that can be easily replaced. That's what they're doing with you right now. So my point is that I think it creates a climate of constant exploitation, constant being able to take advantage of people's labor, constant being able to damn near take the short end of the stick because you feel like, hey man, some money better than no money, and I know you can replace me. So whatever value you put on this labor, regardless of how undervalued I believe it, I'm gonna take it because I know you can go out there and get some more. Which brings me to a point. When we started talking about immigration and we started talking about labor in this country, and people started talking about the idea of jobs being stolen, I'm gonna stand up in this part right here, you feel me? You should take your beef up with the people that gave them the jobs, the employer, and not the employee. You see what I'm saying? If it is true that capitalism is always already about fair competition, I'm gonna throw the word fair out because us they really know that capitalism ain't fair. Why would you take it up with the individual that is taking the job instead of the individual that's giving your job away? A lot of times we start talking about the people, you know what I'm saying, that's Latino or Mexican and being like, oh, they still at job taking jobs. They not walking into the job like, hey, give me that mop. Hey, give me them tools. Being outbid. You see what I'm saying? I think that this right here is getting into the means of production. Now, I live in this new subdivision, you know what I'm saying, that's here in Houston. And a lot of the corporations that are profiting from these houses being thrown up so quickly, when you follow the money, they pay a lot of donations to, you feel me, to the conservatives that are anti-immigration. Do y'all know they're using a whole bunch of undocumented labor to build these homes, to gut these homes, to put electricity in these homes, to pay the driveway, to put the roof on? So what you're getting at right now is that there is always a particular narrative that the people in power want to be able to present, but we should think critically in why they are pushing that narrative. We can keep immigration as being something heavily criminalized and illegal. We can place people in vulnerable positions where we can take advantage of them. See what I'm saying? If you're not supposed to be here, you have to take whatever I give you, whether it's physical abuse or whether it's little to no money. Hey, listen, again, scabbing is kind of like selling out, right? It says that, why are you a scab if you cross the picket line? So we know trade unionists also use the epithet scab, the epithet, that's what you said. Trade unionists also use the epithet scab to refer to workers who are willing to accept terms that union workers have rejected to interfere with the strike action. Some say that words come from the idea that the scabs are covering a wound. However, the scab is an old-fashioned English insult. To my fellow content curators, aspiring content curators, influencers, aspiring influencers, we are implicated in the way that media is happening. We are implicated in how media is going down. The means of production was first described by this white dude, Marx, and the other white dude, Engels. They consisted of small physical and abstract resources aside from labor that are used to produce goods and services. That's what like the means of production first was used and described by these white dudes right here, where a lot of us get the framework of understanding how labor structurally works. You know what I'm saying? But again, shout out to the Afro-pessimists that was able to critique the hell out of Marx and Engels and pushing their work forward and thinking about how we understand labor and how different individuals are positioned as laborers. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that some Marxists today engage in class reductionism, where they only think about the economic identity of an individual and not the other parts of them and how society or capitalism is going to monetize or make profit of those other parts. They say the only thing you should focus on is class. A lot of Marxists be doing it. No, don't read them now. Some Marxists be doing it. But I say that from the video. One of the most powerful sociological explanations of the social conflicts is that Karl Marx, listen, when y'all hear about the white conservatives or really any capitalists, because let's be real, liberals and conservatives love the hell out of capitalism. We know that all the capitalists, you feel what I'm saying, usually try to demonize other modes of thought that really challenges I want to get fancy here, the modality of labor and capitalism. They call you a Marxist or a socialist or a communist. Though all those things are not the same, those are distinctions between those things. They use them hyperbolically and lump them all together as saying you bad. So just want to throw it in there for context. When they talking about critical race theory or feminism and it coming from Marxism and this, that, and the other, that's them trying to engage in some of that old school red scare McCarthyism nonsense, trying to say, hey, you communists, you socialists, that's bad. And this part right here to me that shows like the hypocrisy in democracy or the conservative contradiction. Hey, America, the most freest country ever. You see what I'm saying? You can goddamn fly a Nazi flag. You know what? You can take pride in a flag that's literally treasonous. You feel me? Against America, the Confederate flag. But you better not be a Marxist or a socialist or a communist. As a matter of fact, when you sit in history class in high school and they telling you about McCarthyism and the Red Scare, a lot of teachers gonna teach you about how it was unconstitutional. How it was not only unconstitutional, but how it was contradictory to how America loves to internationally point its finger at other countries and how they treat their constituents. People were able to just lie on folks for no reason. It's because the powerful work of Marx, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the white dude, Karl Marx. He say, the means of production was first described by, Marx and Engels. It consists of all the physical abstract resources aside from labor that are used to produce goods and services, which includes intellectual property, which includes artificial intelligence, which includes the writers, which includes the people that do the lights, which includes all that. You see what I'm saying? We know that one of the most powerful sociological explanations of social conflict is that Karl Marx, who posited a class struggle between proletariat and bourgeoisie, calling it the bourgeoisie because they be silent like the G in lasagna, always behind the scenes trying to trick us and dupe us just like the G in lasagna.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Intrinsic to capitalism. And this one we know, proletariat, fancy word, working class, bourgeoisie, fancy word for ruling class. You see what I'm saying? When a person say in the hood, we be like, you acting bougie, you acting like them folks.
Bad and bougie, bad.
There was also, you feel me, us getting into how we sensationalize material and position things because, we all want to work hard, be successful, you know what I mean, and be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. What are the factors of Marx's understanding of production? Not only that, what are the understandings of your definitions or factors in production? According to Marx, land, labor, and capital as factors of production were originally identified by early political economists such as Adam Smith, David Ricardo, and Karl Marx. Today, capital and labor remain the two primary inputs and processes of the profit. Now, let's think about this. Labor is what makes capital possible. That's what I'm arguing a little bit, you feel me, especially in this instance. When we think about the individuals that are doing the labor, we know that they are not the main beneficiaries of the processes when it comes to profits. When we acknowledge that it's taking 30 years for different actors and actresses to be able to experience a particular type of success, this is getting into, to me, the glass ceiling effect how you can work your ass off, you know what I'm saying, and not still get nowhere. Maybe that's the class aspect, but you know what I'm saying? Or like being in a hamster wheel that's running in place, and you know, you got some motion, but you ain't getting nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You got some motion, but you ain't making no progress. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to do that, right? Within the acting industry, there are a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that I admire their work. Right now, being very vulnerable about how much money they've made, about how successful they've been, and about, regardless of their success, how they've not been able to do things. For instance, character from Orange is the New Black, you know what I'm saying? She was the woman of Asian descent. She talks about how she was in like over 30 episodes of Orange is the New Black. Orange is the New Black won Emmy Awards. You feel me? Well, Emmys, but it won awards, you know what I'm saying? She got paid like 18 cents. She showed the check being paid 18 cents. The means of production and value play a central role in understanding the labor struggle and class conflicts, even when it comes to the SAG strike, what I've been calling SAG. We understand that these concepts are at the core of the dispute, and us being able to define this phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner will not only give us consciousness and understanding over how this little labor dispute is working, it also gives us the ability to make it act in a desired manner. When it comes to like Marxist theory, I want to be clear, Marx doesn't corner the market on how we understand production, but this concept, the means of production, is one that he's been able to put forth and come on. And in the Marxist theory, this means of production is the tool. In Marxist theory, production refers to the tools, refers to the technology, the machinery, and all the rest, and all the resources necessary for producing goods and services. In the context of the film and television industry, the means of production would include film studios, equipment, distribution channels, and other infrastructures involved in creating and releasing movies, TV shows. The issue with the SAG strike, or should I say the SAG strike, as I've been calling it anyway, may revolve around the control and ownership of the means of production. Major film studios and production companies hold often significant power and control over the whole industry, including the decision-making process related to the casting, the working, the conditions, the compensation, the actors, the climate, the whole shebang bang. And what we can know is that them people that's dictating how that works, they don't have to deal with the working conditions. They don't have to deal with the process of the casting. And that's the reason why understanding what's really being demanded is very important. When it comes specifically to these means of production, we know that they are concentrated in the hands of the powerful elites, the entities that lead to exploitation and unequal treatment of labor. For example, actors may be facing reduced bargaining power when negotiating contracts, resulting in unfavorable terms and conditions for their work. We also know that there's a similarity in terms of content curation, and why I recognize now from doing this video, while when I've done work in the past, some people that I work with will ask me, am I a part of the SAG, a part of the union? Which means I probably should join that damn union, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said at the beginning of the video, anytime you get into an industry or a job and you understand it's a union a part of it, the way in which your labor is valued and positioned is already in negotiation, but consciousness amongst the laborers. Because we being real, throughout the entire market, your labor always already being negotiated. You just know that when you get in this position, they got a union. This means there's a little bit of class consciousness on behalf of the laborers. Well, they didn't create a labor union, which brings me real smooth into the value of labor. You see what I'm saying? Marx's theory argues that the value of labor is determined by the amount of socially necessary labor time required to produce a commodity. You know what I'm saying? The idea that time is money. In the case of the entertainment industry, actors' labor is a vital component to the main product, the final product, contributing to the value of the success. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, the likeness and the image of these actors is literally what brings the success. Additionally, the value of labor can be undermined when there is an oversupply of talent willing to work for unfavorable conditions. Repeat that. The value of labor is undermined when there is an oversupply of talent that is willing to work for unfavorable conditions. So when you start talking about the way in which, immigrant populations are coming stealing jobs, your beef shouldn't be with the employee that's giving the labor. Your beef should be with the employer. You see what I'm saying? In most instances, that's doing that. And then again, scabbing is bad. But in this instance, when we're talking about immigration dialogue, immigration politics, a lot of people use this rhetoric about folks being able to steal jobs. If it's people that's walking into markets and being like, give me that mop, Give me the construction tools. It's like, nah, that's not what's happening. What's happening is you're being outbidded due to a greedy employer that's already looking for cheap labor. And because they're looking for cheap labor, how they can get the most amount of labor for the cheapest cost, it makes it where it's hard to, do it. You feel me? So when we talk about the idea of scabbing, again, you could play the definition of scabbing right here. How you make your money matters. In the hood, we say our money ain't good money. You see what I'm saying? And in the hood, where we know we're dealing with poverty and dealing with low economic, low job rates and high police performance or high police I thought that all up. What I was trying to say right there. Restate it. What I was trying to say right there, Max. What I was trying to say right there was capitalism sucks. Capitalism rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Hey, peep game too. When I say capitalism, it sucks, and an individual try to point out, hey, well, you participate in capitalism, so you're contradicting, you're a hypocrite. Hey, listen, the reason why I know capitalism is bad is because I'm forced to participate in capitalism as a means of survival. You feel me? If you had an enslaved person back in the 1800s say that slavery is bad and you thought it was clever to be like, well, you say slavery is bad, but you still eat the master's food and still live on the plantation. That's contradictory. It's like, no. You feel me? The way they're forced to survive on the plantation and say slavery is bad, it doesn't negate they have to survive in that, you know what I'm saying, within that, you know what I mean, within that system. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that it's clear. You feel me? Listen, keeping this analysis going though, with infuse a little bit of Marxist theory to try to explain what's going on with the SAG strike, or should I say SAG strike? I don't want to hear your shit. Listen, man. The strike represents a collective effort of actors to assert their rights, improve their working conditions, and claim a more equitable share of wealth generated by their labor. The strike represents a collective effort by actors to assert their rights to improve the working conditions and claim. Damn, Max, you just text me at the wrong time, man. But listen, the strike represents the collective effort, not only the collective effort, but the conscious, intentional effort by all the actors and writers and producers to assert their rights and improve their working conditions, their claim to a more equitable and shared wealth generated for their labor, have a better withholding of their labor. They trying to disrupt the, hold on. I said that fucked up. I'm sorry, read what it says. Hold on. The strike represents a collective effort by actors, producers, and writers to assert their rights to improve their working conditions and claim a more equitable share of the wealth generated by their labor. And as we said, capital is made possible through labor. Even when you think about gold, that has to be, work has to go into getting the gold, to clean the gold, all that. You see what I'm saying? By withholding their labor, all the people in the film industry is aiming to disrupt the profit-making process of the film industry and highlight the significance of the contributions to the final product. What we know is that the evil execs are already conspiring behind the scenes to wait this thing out until people start getting kicked out of their homes, not being able to pay their mortgage, not being able to pay their rent, and then hopefully they'll be more vulnerable and take some horrible conditions. That is their goal. When they chopping down trees and trying to make it where protesters can't even protest in shade during this little heat wave, they trying to break you. They trying to break it down. You see what I'm saying? The same way that the French bourgeoisie was trying to bust down on the French proletariats, the same way that during the Bacon's Rebellion, the rich white folks, you know what I'm saying, was able to deploy different tactics to make it where the working class people in the lumpenteriats, because we talk about the proletariats, y'all mentioned the lumpenteriats, you know what I'm saying? Marxism, Marx recognized that the way that black people and slave labor was positioned within this working class, ruling class thing had a little uniqueness. I'll say that for a whole nother video, man. But we know, in conclusion, the SAG or the SAG strike, I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like saying SAG is better to me than saying SAG. But I guess that's me being on some European teams trying to dictate how somebody else shit supposed to be said. I don't know. I feel like I like saying SAG more than SAG or whatever. But I know y'all gonna be talking shit in the comment section, so I'm gonna say it like this. In conclusion, the SAG strike in Hollywood could be understood through the Marxist lens, where the central issue revolve around the control of means of labor. The means of production. I'm gonna start that over. In conclusion,
The SAG or SAG strike, I'm saying SAG strike, forget y'all. The SAG strike in Hollywood can be understood through a Marxist lens where the central issues revolve around the means of production and the perceived undervaluing of active labor. By examining this conflict from this perspective, one can gain insight into a broader dynamic of the class struggle and exploitation within the entertainment industry. And recognizing that though we're taught to understand entertainment as something that we don't need, it's not ironic, you feel me, that it makes a whole bunch of money. You feel me? I was just football, it's just acting, it's just movies, it's just film. It's like, hey, a lot of this industry is how a lot of people feed their family. And how a lot of people are able to take food out of people's mouths in order to try to feed their family. But not equal though, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times these execs try to make it like, whoa, me, I'm so oppressed because I'm rich and y'all don't understand me. Like, nah. Education is elevation. Research over me search. Visit the website. Got some new merch on the way, theconsciously.com. Like, share, subscribe, and that peep game. If there was any part of this video that you feel like somebody should hear, screen record that part and re-record, and repost it somewhere. You feel me? Send this link to them. You know what I mean? And as always, the reason why I do these videos is to make it where individuals is able to say what they mean and mean what they say and articulate themselves, not only in how the world works, but also how they position within the world. When I say education is elevation, that's what I mean. When I say research over me search, I'm trying to get you to fall out of whatever you have been indoctrinated and normalized in your mind. You feel me? To say it's always true or it's common sense. I'm a biological man. And lean back on some of their research. Because what I've learned is that common sense ain't really that common. And then the shit that we say is common sense is usually lost in the sauce with conflating normalization with naturalization. And them two things ain't the same thing.